certain things have happened in the last 6 months, especially since we've had a hit in England, that I'd never have dreamed would have happened to me. And so it does sort of send you into a kind of crazy world, and you do end up being a little bit crazy, but that's a lot of the fun of it.
It makes things a lot easier, yeah. It opens up a lot of doors that before were firmly shut. But we're all fairly down-to-earth people, and just because everyone tells us we're wonderful, we don't walk around thinking we're wonderful necessarily.
Sitting in an SDT, waiting for an underground train to rumble underneath my feet. Bang goes another day, where it went I could not say. Now I have to wait another week. When all is said and all is done, what was said was never done. Don't panic, it's not really worth your while. Bang goes another year, in and out of one in. Everybody's doing it, so do it too. I don't need anyone, but a little love make things better. I don't need anyone, but a little love make things better.
I get recognised occasionally, but it's basically in clubs that are full of the sort of people that would recognise you anyway.
Sitting on the early bus, passing through the morning rush, it makes no difference that I'm not with you. Bang goes another year, in and out of one ear. Everybody's doing it, I'll do it too. I don't need anyone, but a little love will make things better. I don't need anyone, but a little love will make things better.
If I could always recall all the good things anyone had ever said about me, I think I feel good all the time. It must look to somebody observing all this that we must be incredibly happy people all the time. We probably are, actually. I'm sure I remember the bad things more than I remember the good things.
If you're at all a music fan, I think you know what to expect. And the papers do slightly hype it up a little, you know, the girls' angles and the sort of wacky lifestyle angles, which is all a bit exaggerated, but pretty much you know what to expect, I think, unless you're going into this completely blindfolded. Yeah. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's not like having a job.
I don't need anyone, but a little love will make things better. I don't need anyone, but a little love will make things better. I don't need anyone, but a little love will make things better. I don't need anyone, but a little of your love will make things better.
The name Blur is the sort of the simplest way of describing kind of the whole feeling that we have, i.e. sort of not very clear. It's just a kind of certain blankness which we're faced with every day. You know, it's just the right word for us, and it's simple and it's easy to remember. There's No Other Way is, I think, one of the clearest sort of messages on the album. It's simply about letting yourself sort of into the flow of things.
Taking the fun out of everything, making me wrong when I don't want to think. Taking the fun out of everything, I don't want to think at all. There's no other way, there's no other way. All that you can do is watch them away.
band is primarily as the kind of the songwriter. That's for me where I'm kind of sort of most used to the songs and the sort of feelings behind the songs. I think purely by virtue that I sing and write the songs, I have a lot more say in the direction of the band than I would if I was the drummer. But it works because of all four of us. I don't sort of cite myself as being any more important.
My role in the band basically is sort of secondary to Damon, really. We will basically look at the song together. I'll get enthusiastic about it, practice the chords, and just come up with a structure, really. I basically find structures and sounds.
I play the bass. I've got long legs and a good haircut. Don't think you can underestimate the importance of those sort of things.
Basically, I play the drums in the band. That's about it. I don't sing. We all contribute our songwriting, our bits to the songwriting.
We just work as a kind of brotherhood, you know, and all the songs kind of mean something to all of us. They become part of us, and that's our strength, I think.
The way the songs sort of evolve is Damon has, just a wee 4-track, and he might put a demo on, which will be musical ideas. He may not have any lyrics, it'll just be chord sequence. Maybe this is a chorus, maybe this is a verse, and he'll have some melody which might evolve as we, experiment with the structure. And then we basically jam it and groove around and get a good rhythm, bass, and then work out the sounds and practice, and then it evolves over practicing it so much, and then it takes shape.
Certain kind of lines and certain musical ideas come all at the same time, and then I sort of just have to sort of craft them into proper sort of thoughts. I'm always having sort of one-liners, which I think are really great, and then sort of having a struggle for the next month trying to write the rest. I think Sheer So High is sort of definitely written about a few people, but just that feeling when you first meet someone and you do want to crawl all over them. Quite confusing when I talk about feelings, but they're what I respond to. I respond to sort of, a song can say a whole set of things, but it can have a specific feeling to it.
Never really describe your own music when you're so closely associated with it, I think. I mean, it's like saying, how do you describe the way you dress, sort of thing. It's just the clothes I wear.
Well, obviously we benefited from the Manchester scene, because that was that first link with kind of mainstream dance music and guitar music, but the album is quite sort of detached from that. It's much more a return to sort of traditional English, sort of anglified sort of sounds, you know, like the Kinks, bands like that. But obviously they helped us, those two particular scenes, but we sort of amalgamated the two.
I think we're part of an extensive outlook more than a scene. We are clumped with other bands from the south who are perhaps slightly noisy, play the same sort of size gigs and are basically a similar sort of, but it's not really a scene, it's like an outlook. We're quite apart from all that really, because we're so varied.
The most distinct thing is actually sort of paradoxically the fact that you can't pin us down to any particular sound or any particular movement. We are kind of here despite ourselves in many respects. There's so many different influences and so many different reasons why we're doing this, and so many different sort of levels of kind of reasoning behind it, that it's always curious. People are always curious about us, whether they like us or not. They definitely have an opinion on us.
Well, I think people pigeonhole you because it's just gives people who read papers and listen to records some sort of idea of what you're going to sound like. I think it's temporary. I don't think it's there forever.
Everyone in the band will kind of have a different set of influences. I'd have to say that Syd Barrett and Ray Davies are very important, also Cat Stevens, singers and kind of idea men. A lot of books, a lot of philosophical ideas sort of have influenced me. You know, a whole kind of bag of things, but I'm not kind of sort of a purist in any sense of the word.
All my influences are subconscious. I was trying to do things that I haven't heard before. Transcended the stage of wanting to sound like anybody else. Just want to sound like me.
Oh, the 60s are very influential. I think subconsciously. I mean, because that's all I heard when I was young. Abbey Road, the Beatles album has always been hugely engraved on my head. And that's the basic dry, heavy, bassy, thick blues sort of sound in, like, I Want You, She's So Heavy, those sort of things. And also, just recently, I've been getting into some Kane, which is really interesting, and some Love as well. I think I'm interested in these sort of people that go off the rails, right, or a bit crazy, you know, make the best music. And of course Pink Floyd, all those sort of early Pink Floyd, people who actually tried to not be boring.
Well, I was brought up really on my parents' record collection, as was Graue and Damon. So, I never bought a record till I was about 18. I never had a record player till then. So really, the groups that influenced me were like the Beatles, the Stones, the Kinks, the Who, all those sort of people.
My dad's a musician. He was a professional clarinet and saxophone player, and music is, you know, a first love. So he's very happy, my mother's very happy. They wish me all the success I want, I deserve, or whatever.
My mum's a viola player and my dad's a singer. Well, I mean, when I was young, my mum always used to say, "Oh, don't go into the music business. There's no future in it, and you never know where your next meal's coming from and things." But I think she's really happy now that I'm doing it.
Anything you ever have. day, this is a bad day to know. She don't know how to feel. This is a bad day, this is a bad day to know.
Graue, the guitarist, and I were at school from the age of 12, and we had a music kind of building in the school, and we always used to go there and just play every day.
When we were about 12 years old, he was writing stuff. I played the saxophone at school, and he was a pianist. And he sort of had a little band. I hardly knew him really, and I only seen him round the music part of the school. And he just wanted a saxophone player to do a little solo. So we went round on this tiny little 4-track, and I put that on, and we became good friends.
And then Graue went to art school, and I was just living, sort of playing, but not really getting anywhere. And he met Alex, the bass player there, and Dave had always sort of been around. And that's where it all started, when we had that particular chemistry. I mean, I'd tried lots of different ways of getting my ideas across, but it sort of didn't really click until that happened.
The turning point really was when we supported the Soup Dragons at Brixton Academy last year, just the end of last year. Half of the reviews didn't even mention the Soup Dragons, they just talked about us. So we really made an impression there. So that was really the point, I think, when people actually started to take us very seriously rather than just dismissing us as another bunch of indie no-hopefuls.
I mean, we were just a support band, and we didn't expect anything, and we were fairly unknown at that time, and we just went on stage and the whole place just erupted, and we sort of knew from that point that this year was going to be good.
There was one gig at Brixton Academy, which was our first big headline. It was one of the biggest in London, I think, and that was incredible. I mean, that was just when we were coming on. The screams and whistles were just deafening, you know, and that was a really good gig. It was just enthusiasm.
If you come here, which you sometimes do, don't think that I really want you to. And if you come here, which you always do, don't think that I expect you to. Is that all I give you? Is that all I give And you talk too much, but you always do. Don't think that I really want you to. And if you talk too much, which you always do, don't think that I really need you to. Is that all I give you? Is that all I give you?
There's two major highs in being in this band, I think, and that is collecting new sounds and recording, and live, which is phenomenally kind of good, because it's just getting on there is the best feeling, and then the last chord is the best feeling. And no, it's just like, it's more instant. It's different from records. It's more instant. You actually can see a reaction to what you're doing, and you're actually one-to-one basis. I'm really into it. Yeah.
It's a lot more satisfying when the gig's half empty. I mean, you've actually got to make, you know, when if you start off with an audience that maybe hasn't heard you before, maybe just heard one single, and you've got to actually pick the audience up by the scruff of the neck and turn them round and turn them into fans. I mean, those gigs are the best for me. You just come off stage and you go, yeah, we did it.
I think we're strong because of variety, the variety of the songs and the sounds, because we always search for new sounds. I always search for new sounds. I'm not satisfied with perhaps every song having a riff. I like experimenting with different sounds that may not even sound like guitar, you know, they might sound like a Hammond cranked up, or, you know, things. So it's basically quite experimental. That's a strength, I think.
What you wanna be is what I am. How you wanna feel is how I feel. But nothing seems the same when I am here, just waiting for it all to disappear. I know, it'll come between us. I know.
I don't know, the sky's absolutely the limit. I really feel so good about my life at the moment that I could achieve anything. I really do. And that can't be a bad thing. People will always put you down for it, call you an idiot. It comes from the songs, a good tune. It's the most important thing. If you want to achieve global proportionality, the best way of doing it is with a song. You can have cool and attitude, but if you haven't got a chorus that you can write on a postage stamp, it's not going to happen. So I think the chorus, that's Blur's strength.
I'd like to think we're one of the only bands that are kind of committed to sort of remaining human entirely and still, you know, being successful. It's quite a sort of fine line that you tread when you start to become successful, and it's very easy to sort of lose that humanity and that element of sort of vulnerability. And I'd like to think that we've still got that and that we retain that, and that's why people are attracted to us.
What you wanna be is what I